Ahadashargo nato patito pavan kada ar kahadasho raghunato patito pavan kahadasho kahamura bhatta jugo kaha kaviraj kahamura bhatta jugo kaha kaviraj kahamura bhatta jugo kaha kaviraj kahamura ekakale kuta gela gauranatara माता अनल पासेवा पाषाण को पाषाण कोटिव माता अनल पासेवा आर गौरांग गुणेरा निदे कुता गेले पाबा गौरांग आर गौरांग गुणेरा निदे कुता गेले पाबा गौरांग गुणेरन सेसब सঙ্গের সঙ্গে যে কইল বেলা আর সেসব সঙ্গের সঙ্গে যে কইল বেলা সেসব আর সে সঙ্গ না পায়া কান্দে নরোত্তম দাস সে সঙ্গ না আর সে সঙ্গ না পায়া কান্দে নরোত্তম দাস সে সঙ্গ না পায়া কান্দে আর যে আনিল প্রেম ধন করুণা প্রাচ যে আনিল প্রেম ধন আর এন প্রভু কুতা গেলা চর্যটা কো জয় আচার্য ঠাকুর জয় আচার্য ঠাকুর ভক্তিস্বরূপ দামোদর গোস্বামী আচার্য ঠাকুর আচার্য ঠাকুর জয় আচার্য ঠাকুর জয় জয় প্রভুপাদ 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 জয় প্রভুপাদ প্রভুপাদ তাই গৌর হরে বল হরে বল হরে বল হরে বল তাই গৌর হরি বল হরি বল।
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, dear Saran Thakur Prabhu and also Tundu Prabhu. Like every year, mesmerizing kirtans before we begin our proceedings. It's become a customary on. Unless you hear a vibrating kirtan, especially Ohe Vaishnava Damodara, we cannot start the program. Thank you once again. So Hare Krishna all. Once again, this is a very auspicious and important occasion for all of us, especially the disciples of His Holiness Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Swami Maharaja, Srila Sripad Maharaj ki. Today is the 19th Tirobhav Mahamahotsav, and we are so blessed to have the presence of His Holiness Damodara Swami. Welcome Maharaj. And also His Holiness Bhakti Jivan Brajanand Maharaj. Welcome Maharaj. And all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who are assembled here, especially those who have come from overseas, Bali, USA, Singapore, and many other places. We are so blessed. Otherwise we are such a small minority here. We will not even know how to go our steps without the presence of all of you. Thank you so much for a very nice support. So we will begin with a nice welcome dance by and this is called Panchabrahma, and this is depicting, it's basically a nice gesture dance for welcoming. So here she is on the, you can come here, you can perform in the middle here. You want to do there?
No. Yes, he will start from there. Come
okay. So you want to introduce her?
Our Lakshmi Priya is daughter of Anand Pandit Prabhu and Mukhara Mataji. So she does this dance when she was 3 years old from Bali, So she likes to dance always for Sripad Maharaj. So she is here to Hare Krishna. So you have music already given? Aripur, you have already put in downloaded in your okay. Bottom only. Lakshmi, only here, eh? No way. हरे कृष्णा, जो भक्त लोग बाहर खड़े हुए हैं कृपया करके सब अंदर आ जाइए, अभी प्रोग्राम शुरू होने वाला है.
He has saved it. Where he has saved it, nobody knows.
Yeah, but there's a problem. See, and he's walking around. Pay attention.
Yes, sure. Okay.
North up.
Hare Krishna. Please give her a big round of applause. Lakshmi Priya has set the stage live. And that's what we wanted to begin our program. Thank you very much, dear Lakshmi Priya and her family members who are here. Very good training on dance. So soothing, Balinese dance. And it has made our heart also very light. So as is customary, we take the blessings of Srila Sripad Maharaj, His Holiness Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Swami Maharaja. We take the blessings of Srila Prabhupada. We take the blessings of Sri Sri Radha, Shyam Sundar, Krishna Balram, Sri Sri Gaur Nitai, and all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis to make sure that today's auspicious Mahamotsav, Tirobhav, is a grand success. Maharaj used to, in most of the conferences, he used to begin by this reciting this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Vasudeva Paravedha Vasudeva Paramakaha Vasudeva Parayoga Vasudeva Parakriya Vasudeva Param Jnanam Vasudeva Param Tapaha Vasudeva Paro Dharmo Vasudeva Paragatihi Vasudeva Paragatihi Vasudeva Paragatihi. When he sang this in Rome conference in 2004, the entire atmosphere became very calm and spiritually charged. Especially the animosity between the Jew scholar and the Islamic scholar that was brewing up. When Maharaj came on the podium and he sang this, everything became so calm and they all became embracing each other. As if, in the Jharkhandi forest when Mahaprabhu was walking, all the tiger and deer started embracing each other. It was that kind of a scene we noticed. So with this we begin the proceedings. So we'll start with a short kirtan of Maharaj. It's a beautiful ecstatic kirtan which we have picked up. This is from Bhubaneswar 2002. And the kirtan is very long, but we will restrict to about maybe 5 to 10 minutes and we will immerse into the ecstasy of Srila Sripada. So we will play that now. Prabhuji, idhar aiye.
You tell him if he's going to behave like this,
Prabhuji,
and
idhar
get
aiye.
someone else.
Hari bol. Idhar aiye, idhar aiye. No, yes.
Don't touch, you'll mix the files up.
Where is the kirtan?
Connect, ready hai?
Where is the kirtan?
Okay, yeah.
Kirtan file कौन सा है? ये वाले?
वॉल्यूम को बढ़ाइए. वॉल्यूम
जो ऑडियो आउटपुट नहीं कर रहा इधर आ रहा
नहीं बड़ा करो ना वॉल्यूम को.
नहीं आ रहा है. सपोर्ट नहीं कर रहा.
इसको यहाँ लगा दीजिए ना उसका
इधर
उसमें है ये.
So that was an ecstatic kirtan. It continues for some more time, but in the interest of time, we will now move to the next part of the program. That will be a very beautiful class by Srila Sripad Maharaj, again in 2002 at Cuttack, Orissa. And this class is from Bhagavad Gita 3.9, and it talks about how to get liberation from karma bandhan. So let's enjoy this class for some time, welcoming His Grace Panchagoda Prabhu, Temple President, and also His Grace Vishnunam Prabhu. Thank you very much for coming. So now we will play the class.
So we'll read very briefly from Bhagavad Gita as it is. So reading from the chapter called Karma Yoga. This is chapter 3, and we're reading this evening text number 9.
श्रीमद् भगवद्गीतार आज आमे तृतीय अध्याय कर्मयोग ए श्लोक 9 आमे अध्ययन करिबा।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
भगवते वासुदेवाय।
यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणो अन्यत्र यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणो अन्यत्र लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्तसंगा समाचरा मुक्तसंग समाचरा. What meanings? Yaga arthat, then only for the sake of Yaga or Vishnu.
केवल यज्ञ कर्म किंबा विष्णु का निमित्त कर्म
Karmanah, then work.
कर्म कराजिव
Anyatra, otherwise.
अन्यथा
Lokaha, world.
पृथ्वी
Ayam, this. Karma bandhanaha,
कर्म बंधन
bondage by work.
कर्म बंधन
That of him. Artham, for the sake.
निमित्त
Karma, work.
कर्म
Kaunteya, O son of Kunti.
हे कुंती पुत्र
Mukta Sangaha,
संघ
liberated from association.
मुक्त
Samachara,
समाचार
do perfectly.
अलभावरे आचरण कर
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada.
शिव रूपाजी महाराज द्वारा प्रदत्त अनुवाद एवं भावार्थ
Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you'll always remain free from bondage.
विष्णु का प्रीत्यर्थे बा यज्ञार्थे कर्म କରିବାକୁ ହେବ नचेत कर्म व्यक्ति के भौतिक जगत रे बांधिବ तेणु हे कुंती पुत्र तुमे तांकर भगवानଙ୍କର प्रीत्यर्थे तुमर कर्तव्य कर्म କରି ଯାଅ ଏବଂ ତାହା କଲେ ତୁମେ ସର୍ବଦା ଅନାସକ୍ତ ହୋଇ ରହି ପାରିବ ଏବଂ ବନ୍ଧନ ମୁକ୍ତ ହୋଇ ପାରିବ.
Purport. Since one has to work even for the simple maintenance of the body, the prescribed duties for a particular social position and quality are so made that that purpose can be fulfilled. Yoga means Lord Vishnu or sacrificial performances. All sacrificial performances also are meant for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu. The Vedas enjoin Yego Vai Vishnuhu. In other words, the same purpose is served whether one performs prescribed yagas or directly serves Lord Vishnu. Krishna consciousness is therefore performance of yaga as it is prescribed in this verse. The Varnashram institution also aims at satisfying Lord Vishnu. Varnashramasarya pata purushena parha puman Vishnur aradhite. This is from Vishnu Purana 388. Therefore, one has to work for the satisfaction of Vishnu. Any other work done in this material world would be a cause of bondage. For both good and evil work have their reactions, and any reaction binds the performer. Therefore, one has to work in Krishna consciousness to satisfy Krishna or Vishnu. And while performing such activities, one is in a liberated stage. This is a great art of doing work. And in the beginning, this process requires very expert guidance. One should therefore act very diligently under the expert guidance of a devotee of Lord Krishna or under the direct instruction of Lord Krishna himself, under whom Arjuna had the opportunity to work. Nothing should be performed for sense gratification, but everything should be done for the satisfaction of Krishna. This practice will not only save one from the reaction of work, but also gradually elevate one to transcendental loving service of the Lord, which alone can raise one to the kingdom of God.
एणु केवल शरीर रक्षा निमित्त व्यक्ति को कार्य କରିବାକୁ ପଡ଼ିବ एणु विभिन्न वर्ण निमित्त जो कर्म गुड़िक निर्दिष्ट करा जायछि एवं ता एपरि भाबरे करा जायछि जे तार उद्देश्य तद्वारा चरितार्थ होई पारे यज्ञ शब्द अर्थ भगवान विष्णु किंबा यज्ञ अनुष्ठान समस्त यज्ञ कर्मर उद्देश्य हला भगवान विष्णु को संतुष्ट करिवा वैदिक मत हला यज्ञ वै विष्णु अन्य कथारे एही कोआ जाय पारे जे यदि व्यक्ति तार निर्दिष्ट कर्म कर्तव्य बा यज्ञ कर्म करे किंबा प्रत्यक्ष भावरे भगवान विष्णु को सेवा करे से एका उद्देश्य ही चरितार्थ हुए तेणु कृष्ण भावना हला सही यज्ञ अनुष्ठान जहा ए सुनकरे कहा जायछि ताई कृष्ण भावना यज्ञ वर्णाश्रम धर्म रे उद्देश्य हला एया भगवान विष्णु को संतुष्ट करिवा विष्णु पुराण 3:8 रे कथित अछि वर्णाश्रमाचारवता पुरुषेण पर पुमान विष्णु आराधते तेणु व्यक्ति को विष्णु का प्रीत्यर्थे कर्म କରିବାକୁ पड़िବ ଏହା ଛଡା ଆଉ ଯାହା କିଛି ଭଲ ବା ମନ୍ଦ କାମ କର ସେ ସବୁ ବନ୍ଧନର କାରଣ ହେବ ପାପ କର୍ମ ବା ପୁଣ୍ୟ କର୍ମ ଯାହା କିଛି କର ପ୍ରତ୍ୟେକ କର୍ମର ପ୍ରତିକ୍ରିୟା ଅଛି ଏବଂ ସେ ପ୍ରତିକ୍ରିୟା କର୍ତ୍ତାକୁ ହିଁ ଭୋଗ କରିବାକୁ ପଡିବ ଏହା ହେଉଛି କର୍ମ ବନ୍ଧନ ତେଣୁ ବ୍ୟକ୍ତିକୁ କୃଷ୍ଣ ଚେତନା ରେ भगवान कृष्ण वा विष्णु को प्रीत्यर्थे कर्म କରିବାକୁ पड़िବ ଯେତେବେଳେ ବ୍ୟକ୍ତି ଏ ପ୍ରକାର କର୍ମ କରେ ସେତେବେଳେ ସେ ମୁକ୍ତ ଅବସ୍ଥାରେ ଥାଏ ଏହା ହେଉଛି କାମ କରିବାର ମହାନ କୌଶଳ ଏବଂ ଆରମ୍ଭରେ ଏଥି ନିମିତ୍ତ ଜଣେ ଉପଯୁକ୍ତ ଗୁରୁଙ୍କର ନିର୍ଦ୍ଦେଶ ଆବଶ୍ୟକ ତେଣୁ ବ୍ୟକ୍ତିକୁ ଭଗବାନ କୃଷ୍ଣଙ୍କର ଏକ ଶୁଦ୍ଧ ଭକ୍ତଙ୍କ ନିର୍ଦ୍ଦେଶରେ ବା ଅଧୀନରେ ନିଷ୍ଠା ସହକାରେ କର୍ମ କରିବାକୁ ହେବ କିମ୍ବା କୃଷ୍ଣଙ୍କର ପ୍ରତ୍ୟକ୍ଷ ନିର୍ଦ୍ଦେଶରେ କର୍ମ କରିବାକୁ ହେବ ଯେପରି ଅର୍ଜୁନ କରିଥିଲେ ଇନ୍ଦ୍ରିୟ ସୁଖ ନିମିତ୍ତ କିଛି କରିବାକୁ ପଡିବ ନାହିଁ କିନ୍ତୁ ସବୁ କାମ କୃଷ୍ଣଙ୍କ ପ୍ରୀତ୍ୟର୍ଥେ କରିବାକୁ ପଡିବ ଏହା ଯେ କେବଳ ବ୍ୟକ୍ତିକୁ କର୍ମ ବନ୍ଧନ ବା ପ୍ରତିକ୍ରିୟାରୁ ମୁକ୍ତ କରିବା ତାହା ନୁହେଁ ଏହା ମଧ୍ୟ ବ୍ୟକ୍ତିକୁ କ୍ରମଶଃ ଭଗବାନଙ୍କର ଦିବ୍ୟ ସେବା ସ୍ତରକୁ ଅର୍ଥାତ୍ ଭଗବତ ସାମ୍ରାଜ୍ୟକୁ ଉନ୍ନୀତ କରିପାରିବ
Gnana Timirandasya Gyanam Nirvijana Shalakaya Yakshurun Litam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Now Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Nimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachadine Nirvishesha Sundavade Pashyatade Sudarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Guru Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki Guru Pravarande. So this is a Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga, the definition of Karma Yoga means one has to work. But that work, the real definition, understanding of Karma Yoga is that one must work for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna.
कर्म जोग आम आज अध्ययन करुचे ये कर्म जोगर संज्ञा होची जे जीव जो कर्म करिबा मानव माने जो कर्म करिवे ताको कृष्ण का विग्रह रे से कर्म को साधन करिवे.
So in India we have heard that many of our friends, they say they are doing Karma Yoga.
भारत रे हम सुनुचे हमर अनेक बंधु सेमाने कर्म जोग रे रत अछन बोली हम सुनुचे.
So they say they have to work because they have to maintain the family, they have to earn money for the education of their children, and so for their relatives, parivar. So in this way, and for to maintain himself, so that they think that this is Karma Yoga.
सब परिवार रक्षा पाई पिलांकर शिक्षा पाई एवं गृहर अन्य दायित्व कर्तव्य साधन करिया पाई जो कर्म करूछन्ती सेमाने ताको कर्म जोग बोली कहउछन्ती.
But according to Bhagavad Gita, according to Lord Krishna, this is not called Karma Yoga. This is not.
किंतु श्रीमद् भगवद्गीता अनुसार यहाको कर्म जोग बोली कहा जाई पारिबो नाही.
So Karma Yoga means one has to work, but that work should be, the result of that work should be dedicated or should be offered for the to the lotus feet of the Lord.
यही समस्त कर्म को सेतबळे कर्म जोग बोली कहा जीवो जेतबळे कर्मर फल को भगवान का कृष्ण को समर्पण करा.
Because everything should be offered for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu, Krishna.
केवल सेतुनी भगवान कृष्णकर प्रीति विधान करिया पाई जहाँ समस्त हम पाखरे साधन संभव हेछि से सब को भगवान कृष्णकर प्रीति विधान अर्थे समर्पण करा उचित.
So that is actually Karma Yoga. That is the meaning of Karma Yoga.
कर्म जोगर अर्थ ही ताहा.
So in the Upanishad, in the Isha Upanishad, the description is given in the sloka, first sloka, Ishavasam idam sarvam. Sarvam means everything. Everything is a property of the Supreme Lord, Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu.
ईशोपनिषद रे कहा जाय छी ईशावासम इदम सर्वम तार अर्थ होची जहां मैं आखिरे देखुचे ए सब होची भगवान का संपदा.
So this means in the family the children are coming, children are born in the family.
तेणु परिवार रे हमर जो शिशु माने जन्म होछंती.
But the children actually belong to Lord Vishnu. This is a the children are Vishnu's. I mean, are property of Lord Vishnu.
ए जो शिशु माने हम परिवार रे जन्म होछंती से माने मध्य भगवान कृष्ण बा विष्णु का संपदा.
But then we claim that these are my children. The father claims, the mother claims, oh, this is my son and my children.
साधारणतः हमें दाबी करू जे ए माने होछंती हमर पुଅ एवं झियो बोली.
But then we have to learn this culture that the children actually belong to Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna.
किंतु हमें शिक्षा करिबा दरकार बुझिबा दरकार जे ए संतान माने मध्य शिशु माने मध्य भगवान विष्णु का संतान.
Similarly, now you build a big house, very nice house, and then you buy many cars, and you think that, yeah, these are my cars, this is my house. So in this way, we are always trying to think that you are the owner, you are the master of these things.
कर्म जरिया बा कर्म फल प्राप्त होला परे आमे अनेक समय बड़ बड़ कोठा घर करूछु बड़ बड़ गाड़ी किनुछु एवं अनेक समय आमे कहि दउछु या मोर घर किंबा या मोर गाड़ी किंतु प्रकृत रे से सब घर एवं से सब गाड़ी भगवान सुंदर संपत्ति.
But by the practice of this devotional culture, then we begin to realize that actually this house actually is for the satisfaction, for serving the Supreme Lord Vishnu. The car is meant for serving Lord Vishnu. So in this way, for the devotional service, these facilities are provided by the blessings of the Lord. So one begins to realize when one cultivates the spiritual knowledge.
कारण हमर जो भारत जो संस्कृति रही छी जाका हमें भक्ति योग बोली कहूछु से भक्ति योग हम जीवन जेतला में जातन करिवो आरंभ करू बा हमें तबु साधना करिवा आरंभ करू से तोळे हमें धीरे धीरे बुझिबा को सक्षम हो हम पाखरे जो गृह अछि जो गाड़ी अछि बा संतान अछंती जा संपत्ति हमर अछि ये समस्त भगवान का एवं ये समस्त भगवान का प्रतिबंध निमित्त व्यवहार करा जाय करिवो.
So this is meant here, Lord Krishna is explaining to Arjuna that so therefore the work must be done, but we have to learn that this work is meant for to offer, the result of these works is meant to offer for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu.
आज संध्या रे हमें जो श्लोक अध्ययन करूचे से श्लोक रे भगवान कृष्ण अर्जुन को उपदेश दउछन्ती जे सब भगवान कृष्ण के पृथ्वी अर्थे पराजित.
So by developing this culture, then say free from bondage. Bondage means if we do not have that type of culture, we do not learn that culture, then what happens is that the person will become more entangled, and there will be no end to it. So this is called bondage, karma bandhana.
तेणु श्रीमद् भगवत रे जो संस्कृति बा सांस्कृतिक कार्यक्रम विषय कुआ जाय छै आमी तो न बुझू ग्रहण न करू ताहाले आमे जो कर्म सब करछु जीवको बा मानव विषय कर्म बंधन रे परिवाको अब तेणु से कर्म बंधन रे से पडिले तार जीवन को से सुखमय करिया पे चाहूची से जीवन से सुख आस्वादन करि परिबा.
So bondage means because you will be affected. So when your business is not going well, so suppose something wrong is happening in your work, in a bond, so therefore you have incurred some losses. Then you are so much worried that you try another one to gain your loss. So in this way, always there will be in your work there will be always no end to it. Always this will continue. So therefore you are in bondage more and more when you are working there. Well, this is only for my satisfaction of myself and for the satisfaction of my family members. And in other words, when you focus your attention for your bodily conception of life.
तेणु आमे जो कर्म करिकी तार फल भोग करिया पे चेष्टा करछु एथि जो बंधन दशा आसे बोली एथि छुआलबा से विषय महाराज कहउछन्ती बंधन माने जे हमर अनेक समय आमे कोनसी व्यवसाय करूछु किबा कोनसी कर्म करूछु सुचारू रूपे सेटा चालिबार कथा बोली आशा करा जाउछि किंतु बंधन दशा हेतु हमर अनेक समय हम बिजनेस रे मात्र केतो बडे प्रतिबंधक सृष्टि हे जिवो किबा आमे जो कर्म करूछु बा जो साधना करूछु बा जहा जहा आमे करूछु आनंद पाया पे सेतरे प्रतिबंधक आसीबो सेतरे कोन माने किछि समय पे सेटा रहि जिवो सेतरे अनेक समस्या सृष्टि हे जिवो जोटा मध्य बंधन अर्थ रे बुझा जाई परिबो. तेणु ए समस्त बंधन दशा को एरिया पाई हेले ए जो असुविधा जीवन रे आसुछि ताकु दूर करिया हेले हमको ए कर्म को कौशल जहा दिया जाय छै एटी कुआ जाय छै सेही बडे भाबरे साधन करिया पड़िबो एवं ताहे होछि हमर संस्कृति.
Sometimes because of lack of knowledge, lack of spiritual knowledge, lack of devotional knowledge, then one is hesitant. One is hesitant to actually offer that everything to the Lord. Sometimes you're hesitant to offer for the satisfaction of the Lord, saying that if I offer all these things, then what will left for my family? Then who will maintain? So that type of worry comes. So this is simply because of lack of knowledge and lack of experience, spiritual experience. But the real fact will be is that when you develop that culture, this culture of devotional service or devotional life, that the Lord is so pleased that He will return in many, many more times than what you earn when you are starting really cultivating this knowledge and applying this in our day-to-day life.
आमे जति दैनन्दिन जीवनरे ए जो संस्कृति विषय वा संस्कार क्रिया विषय कुआ जाउछि ताकु जीवनर ग्रहण करू ताहाले आमे जा पाइछु ताकु भगवान सुरक्षा दियंती एवं जहा आमे करियाको चाहूछु से दिगरे मध्ये हमको से बहुत सहायता करन ता फलरे आमे सुचारू रूपे ए जीवनर जो सब कार्यक्रम ग्रहण करछु ताकु करि पारु एवं भगवान को कृपार मध्ये शेषको सुंदर भावरे सुरक्षित होइए.
Look into the products of nature. So, for example, in the forest, in the jungle, in the big jungle, there are wild elephants, there are tigers, there are lions, some are carnivorous, some are herbivorous, but they all are provided by the arrangement of the Lord in order to carry on their life. So, in other words, everything is given. It's a proper share by the arrangement of the Lord. And so, if all these wild elephants who do not, or all these living entities who do not stop even for the next meal, for the next something to eat for their survival, but at the same time, the Lord is always providing. So if the Lord is providing for these animals, so why we cannot think that this culture that the Lord is mercifully going to be also giving me this mercy. So therefore, if we cultivate this culture, then life will become much more natural.
ଆମର जो सांस्कृतिक कार्यक्रम रे बा संस्कार क्रिया रे बा भगवत आराधना बा भक्ति योग मार्ग रे जहां हमें करू ता फल रे हमर समस्त वैदिक साहित्य रे दिया जायछि जे भगवान समस्त को भरण पोषण करूछन्ती केवल हमर दायित्व कर्तव्य हम तांकर आराधना करिवार कथा एई कथा को विश्वास करिया पई श्रीपाद महाराज एक उदाहरण दउछन्ती जे ए जंगल जो देखुता में जंगल से जंगल रे केते प्रकार गछ अछि सेठी केते प्रकार जीव जंतु रहिसन्ती व्याघ्र हाथी आदि नाना प्रकार जीव जंतु रहिसन्ती सेमाने मधुर अनेक मांस भोजी एवं अनेक तृणभोजी सेमाने तांको जीवनर जहा जहा आवश्यकता ग्रास छादन करिया पई से समस्त पाउछन्ती एपरि कि कोनोसी गोटिए दिनर तांकर ग्रास छादन पई जा दरकार सेतु सेमाने किछि अभाव अनुभव करन्ते सेतु हम जानु जे भगवान कर व्यवस्था अनुसार समस्त कर गाछा साधन बा शरीर रक्षा करे पई पर्याप्त व्यवस्था रहिछि केवल मानव पई सेतु अभाव अब काहे कि.
Of course, in the human form of life, because of the developed intelligence and because of the developed consciousness that we have, so because of that, so for your increasing your devotional life, to plan something is also regarded as quite intelligent. To increase one's devotional life, to find ways and means how to get out of this bondage in this material consciousness. To plan some to get out of that, so that is of course very important.
मानव को जो बुद्धि एवं विचार शक्ति दिया जायछि ता प्रवे मानव योजना करि परिबो किबळी भाबरे भक्ति योग मार्ग रे कर्म करिकी जो कर्म रा बंधन अथा कुआ जाउछि श्रीमद् भगवद्गीता रे से बंधन किबळी मुक्ति हेइ परिबो एवं जदि हमें सेति करे किछि प्रचेष्टा करबा किछि योजना करू बड़ा सहज भाबरे हमें कर्म बंधन मुक्त हेबु ता सहित किंतु हमें एक सुंदर जीवन यापन करि परबु जोथरे कि हमर किछि अभाव असुविधा रहबो नाही.
So in this way, if because of your karma, because of your punya karma, if you are able to raise say a lot of money or Lakshmi Maharani, then and if you become a Krishna Bhakta, if you become involved in the Krishna consciousness mission, and if you can help in that whatever the finance is coming for spreading the Krishna consciousness mission for the welfare of so many other people, then of course that can be done. But at some time, if that work makes you more materialistic or just say unlimited trying to raise money, at some time you forget about Krishna. So that is called bondage. But on the other hand, if you are Krishna conscious, you can use whatever resources coming, at least say a certain percentage, at least maybe 50%. And if that is used for the service of Krishna, then still your work is bona fide. That because you are still doing seva for spreading Krishna consciousness. Glorious.
ଆମେ ଜୀବନରେ ଯୋଉ ସବୁ କର୍ମ କରୁଛୁ ସେ କର୍ମ ମାଧ୍ୟମରେ ଆମେ କିଛି ରୋଜଗାର କରୁଛୁ ଅନେକ ସମୟରେ ଏ ରୋଜଗାର ଆମର ବିପୁଳ ପରିମାଣରେ ଆସୁଛି କିନ୍ତୁ ଆମେ ଯଦି ଭଗବାନ କୃଷ୍ଣଙ୍କର ସେବା ବା ତାଙ୍କର ପ୍ରଚାର କାର୍ଯ୍ୟ ପାଇଁ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ଅର୍ଥ ଆମେ ରୋଜଗାର କରୁ ସେଥିରୁ କିଛି କିଛି ଇଏ କରିକି ମାନେ ଅଧାଧି ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ଯଦି ଦାନ କରୁ ତାହେଲେ ଆମର ଯୋଉ ବ୍ୟବସାୟ ବା ଯୋଉ କର୍ମ ଆମେ କରୁଛୁ ସେ କର୍ମରେ ଆମର ସବୁବେଳେ ସକ୍ସେସ୍ ରହିବ ଏବଂ ଆମେ ଅଧିକରୁ ଅଧିକ ରୋଜଗାର କରିବା ପାଇଁ ଚେଷ୍ଟା କରିପାରିବା କିନ୍ତୁ ଯଦି ଆମେ ଭଗବାନ କୃଷ୍ଣଙ୍କୁ ସେଥିରୁ କିଛି ଦବା ପାଇଁ ବୃଦ୍ଧି ଥାଉ ତାହେଲେ କ'ଣ ହବ ନା ପ୍ରକୃତରେ କର୍ମ ଏବଂ ଜୀବନରେ ଯୋଉ ବନ୍ଧନ ଦଶା ସବୁ ରହିଛି ନିଜର ଆଧ୍ୟାତ୍ମିକ ଗତିରେ ରହିବ ପ୍ରତିବନ୍ଧକ ଏବଂ ଯୋଉ କର୍ମ ଆମେ କରୁଛୁ ବା ଯୋଉ ବ୍ୟବସାୟ ଆମେ କରୁଛୁ ସେଠି ମଧ୍ୟ ଅନେକ ପ୍ରତିବନ୍ଧକ ଦେଖାଯିବ ଯାହା ଫଳରେ ସେତେବେଳେ ଆମେ ଅନେକ ଅଶାନ୍ତି ଉପଭୋଗ କରୁ ସେଥିପାଇଁ ଆମର ସଂସ୍କାର ବା ସାଂସ୍କୃତିକ କାର୍ଯ୍ୟକ୍ରମରେ ଏ ବୈଦିକ ସାହିତ୍ୟରେ ସବୁ କୁହାଯାଇଛି ଯୋଉମାନେ କିଛି କିଛି ରୋଜଗାର କରୁଛନ୍ତି ସେମାନେ ମଧ୍ୟ ଭଗବାନଙ୍କର ମହିମା ଗୁଣ ଏବଂ ପ୍ରଚାର କ୍ରିୟାରେ କିଛି କିଛି ଯଥାଶକ୍ତି ସାହାଯ୍ୟ କରିପାରିବେ ସାହାଯ୍ୟ ଅନେକ ସମୟରେ ନିଜ ରୋଜଗାର ଅଧାଧି ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ହୋଇପାରେ.
So this the soul or the jivatma, say we are all eternal living beings. So therefore we will be always eternally doing something. Therefore we have to train our mind and we have to train our body and this activity, the work in such a way that this work does not mind, does not cause bondage. In other words, does not create this material bondage, but rather the works should be such that if you offer it for the satisfaction of Vishnu, then you will be free from bondage and then you will be eligible to actually enter into the kingdom of God.
आत्मा भावरे हमर एक नित्य जीवन रहिछि नित्य जीवनर स्वाद अनुभव करिया पई हमें जो कर्म करूछु से कर्म को सब जाक निजे निजर उपभोग न लागि जते हमें भगवान कृष्ण के प्रीति दान करिया पई हमें किछ किछ दान करू ताले हमर जो नित्य जीवनर जो क्रिया चालू रहइबो एवं से नित्य जीवनर जो प्रतिबंधक आसियो बोली सांस्कृतिक कार्य रे बा वैदिक साहित्य सब दिया जायछि प्रकृति से परि किछ आसीबो नाही किंतु यदि हमें से विषय सबले बुझिबाक चेष्टा करू कि से विषय किसी आग्रह प्रकाश न करिकी यदि आम निज निजर भोग लालसा आम लगी रही से समस्त अर्थ को व्यय करूँ ताहले जीवन में जो नित्य जीवन आम नित्य आनंद उपलब्ध होवार कथा एवं आम उपलब्धि करिवार कथा जे प्रकृत में आम नित्य जीवन मध्य प्रवेश करूनी ता होई परिबा नाही.
So therefore we should cultivate this knowledge and culture so that we are not bound into this material conception. Rather, we should be free out of this bondage.
तेणु जदि आमे एई संस्कृति की ग्रहण करू बा जीवन रे भक्ति को अवलंबन करू ताहाले आमे क्रमशः ए जो बंधन दशा कर्म बंधन बा भौतिक बंधन कोठी कहा जाउची से दशा भीतर आमे प्रवेश करिबोनी एवं आमे धीरे धीरे एक नित्य जीवन बा प्रतिबंधकहीन जीवन रे प्रवेश करू आमे उपलब्धि करि परिबा.
So therefore, by joining this international society for Krishna consciousness and by association with the devotees of the mission and by participating in the Krishna conscious programs, then this understanding will come to the individual.
अंतरराष्ट्रीय कृष्ण भवन संघरे अंश कार्यक्रमरे अंशग्रहण करिया फलरे आमे अंतरराष्ट्रीय कृष्ण भवन संघर विभिन्न केन्द्र को आसुछु भक्त मानक सहित मिलित होछु सेमानक सहित हमर भावना आदान प्रदान होछि जहा फलरे ए संस्कृति सांस्कृतिक कार्य रे हम अग्रगति करिवु एवं धीरे धीरे ए जो कथा कोआ गला नित्य जीवन विषय उपलब्धि आसीबो प्रकृति रे धीरे धीरे से प्रकार उपलब्धि जाने ग्रहण करि परिबो.
So centers of Krishna consciousness are established around the world, but these are just to facilitate so that the sincere souls can come and participate and develop this understanding.
समग्र पृथ्वीर विभिन्न स्थानरे अंतरराष्ट्रीय कृष्ण भवनाश्रम केन्द्र प्रतिष्ठा करा जायछि तार उद्देश्य होछि जो माने निष्ठापर भक्त अछंती सेमान आसीबे एवं एई शिक्षा एई जो भक्ति शिक्षा से करेंगे, भक्ति मार्ग में साधन करेंगे, ताफल से जो सुजोग से लाभ कले से अपूर्व सुजोग एवं सेति करे।
So we'll read very briefly.
जब प्रथम हमको उपलब्धि करबा जे पड़िबो जे आमे जो जीवन पाइछे ताहा एक दुर्लभ जीवन एवं भगवान ताकू हम बड़ कृपा करिकि से दान दैछन्ति।
So knowing that, then also we have to inquire what is the ultimate goal of our existence.
तेणु ई दुर्लभ जीवन बा दिव्य जीवन भगवान हमको दान भावरे दैछन्ति। आमे चेष्टा करिबा दरकार जे प्रकृति रे एई जीवन रे हमको किबळे भावरे मिलिछे एवं
And also you have to contemplate why there are so many forms of life in this universe.
आउ यो हमें विचार करिबा दरकार जे जीवन ए जगत रे एते प्रकार जीवजंतु बा जीवन काहे के दैछि।
And you have to inquire what is the difference between all these forms of life and the human form of life.
एवं ए जेते प्रकार जीवजनी आमे जगत रे देखुछे ताका मध्यरे आम मध्यरे बा पशु बा मानवतर जीव मानक मध्यरे मानव सहित कोन विशेष पार्थक्य रहिछि।
And also you have to study these symptoms that you are experiencing, that although so many people are working, that so many people are also suffering.
एवं आमे मध्य बुझियो कि चेष्टा करबा दरकार जे बहुत लोग जदियो कर्मरत अछन्ति सेमान मध्यरु अनेके काई बड सुंदर भावरे कर्म करूछन्ति एवं आउ माने ताकर कर्ममय जीवन रे काई बहुत दुख लाभ करूछन्ति।
So by gathering all this knowledge, all these experiences,
एई समस्त ज्ञान एवं अभिज्ञता जदि आमे एकत्रित करू,
so you begin to realize that you have to do something so that you can get out of this dangerous symptoms of life.
ताहारे आमे परिमा जे जीवन रे ए जो विपद सब से काहे के आसुची।
But therefore Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, what does it say? Bahunam janmanamante. After many births, Bahunam janmanamante.
सेति भाई भगवान कृष्ण आई जो प्रश्न ती आसुची भाई जो ज्ञान बा उपलब्धि हम सब ग्रहण करिबा ताकू सुंदर भाव रे आउरी अति परिष्कार भरे हम जो जेबे भगवान कृष्ण कहिसंती बहुनां जन्मनान्ते ज्ञानवान मान प्रपद्यन्ते।
So Jnanavan means those who are intelligent, developed knowledge, that those intelligent people, knowing that Krishna is the ultimate goal of ultimate purpose of life. So Vasudeva Sarvamiti, Vasudeva Sarvamiti means Krishna is the ultimate goal of life. So by knowing that, then such individual surrenders comes to Krishna. So that process, this vehicle or this understanding is called Krishna consciousness. In other words, knowing that Krishna is the ultimate goal of life, and therefore you surrender.
तेणु जदि महाराज कहले जो सब जिन सब अनेक करिया पे बुझिया पाए हमें जे से सब जिन सब बुझू एवं हमर जो ज्ञान बा अनुभव अछि से अनुभव भितर तक हमें आनु ताले कोन हबन हमें जानि परिबु जे बहुनां जन्मनां अन्ते ज्ञानवान मान प्रपदन्ते जा भगवत गीता श्रीमद् भगवत गीता रे भगवान कृष्ण कहिसंती प्रकृति रे सेतबळे हमें बुझि परिबु जे प्रकृति रे भगवान को पदारविंद रे आश्रय ग्रहण करिबा हमर उचित।
So in this way, when one has that knowledge, then in daily life, then what do? In daily life, because you have to, suppose you have to maintain this body, so therefore I have to do some work to maintain this body, to keep the body and the soul together. And if you have a family life, then not only for yourself, sometimes you also to work for your children, for your family, to maintain your family, and so you have to work. Then what to think about Krishna?
जेतेबेले हमें जीवन रे भगवान कृष्ण को सेवा करियो कथा बुझिबा स्तर को आसु सेतेबेले हमर पिलांक सहित हम परिवार सहित और व्यवसाय हमर कर्म सहित हमें भगवान कृष्ण को किपरि सेवा करियो ताहा शिक्षा करिबा चेष्टा करियो।
But if you learn how to depend on the mercy of Krishna every day in daily work or in daily life, even in sleep. If you think about the mercy of Krishna, then by that culture, by that process, that one will begin to realize more and more that everything is provided by the mercy of the Lord. You may be worried about how to maintain your children, but by your this spirit of surrendering for the mercy of the Lord, even if you work maybe little, but Krishna, when he becomes so pleased, then he can give you so much that everything will become very easy and sublime. And in this way, but only the secret in that process is that you have to learn how to depend on the mercy of Krishna. That everything that you do will become, by the blessings of the Lord, will become successful. And then you can maintain the family, and also you can always depend on the mercy of the Lord. So in this way, in daily life, you can always remember Krishna's mercy.
चेतनार विकास एवं ज्ञानर अभिवृद्धि हेले आमे बुझी परिबा जे आमे कृष्णकर कृपा उपरे निर्भर करूछु भगवान कृपा हेतु आमे बंचिछु ए सब आमे बुझी पारु सेतबेले आमे सबले कृष्णक चिंता रे निमग्न रहू ए परि कि सोइबा समय रे कर्म करिबा समय रे आमे तांकर माने कृपा उपरे निर्भर करू जा फल रे आमे जो कर्म सब करू से कर्म गुड के सुंदर हुए सुचारू भाव करि पारु हम पिलांकर कार्य परिवार का कार्य एवं जो माने हम पर निर्भर करछन तांकर कार्य आमे मत फल भर करि पारु काहे कि आमे कृष्ण को चिंता करिया फल रे कृष्ण हमर से समस्त कार्य को सफल करिया पय सफले सहायता करंती जा फल रे हमर समस्त कर्म रे आमे सक्सेसफुल हो हमर पिला मन पय बा परिवार पय जो माने हम पर निर्भर करछन तांकर पय जा हमर परिवार कथा कृष्ण का चिंता हेतु ता सुचारू रूप हुए एवं हमर धीरे धीरे कृष्ण चिंता मध्य हमर कृष्ण के चिंता मध्य बा कृष्ण के सेवा विषय हमर मध्य धीरे धीरे आवेग बा उत्साह वृद्धि प्राप्त होय.
So Krishna consciousness, therefore, is actually to always sing about his glory every moment, and to Sarvanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam, to listen and to sing, and to also always remember Sarvanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. Among the 9 processes of bhakti, so these 3 principles are very important, very vital. So we should therefore plan our work or our schedule of our duty, so that you can always be involved. I can always remember the wonderful mercy of Krishna.
कृष्ण चेतनार गोटे अर्थ श्रीपाद महाराज कहउछन जे कृष्ण को सबले मने पकेबा कृष्णकर गौरव तांकर गुण कीर्तन श्रवण कीर्तन विष्णु तांक विषय सुनिबा तांक विषय कहिबा तांक विषय चिंता करिबा ये समस्त कृष्ण चेतनार अंतर्गत धीरे धीरे एही बळी भाव रे कोन स्थिति आरंभ करे से धीरे धीरे से अधिक अग्रगति करिए एवं अग्रगति करे एवं तार जो बोध शक्ति परिप्रकाश फल रे से परिष्कार भाव रे बुझी पारे जे से कृष्ण चिंता करिया फल रे तार जीवन सहज एवं सुगम हो जाउछि.
So if one doesn't do that culture, so that is not Krishna consciousness. That was it is something outside Krishna consciousness. When one cannot do that, then it's not called Krishna consciousness.
यदि कृष्ण के विषय मनन चिंतन एवं स्मरण बा श्रवण कीर्तन हमें न करू अन्य प्रकार हम यदि जीवन को बितेवा ପାଇଁ चेष्टा करता है ताहा कृष्ण चेतना होई परिबो नाही.
So in Bhagavad, Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that dharma sanistitah punksha vishakshena katasuyah notapadayed yadiratim sarva evahi kevalam. So the translation is that our Guru Maharaj translates dharma as a duty, occupational duty. So duties performed by human beings. Dharma sanastitah punksha. Punksha means human beings. That the activities performed by human beings, that those activities do not lead to serve or to remember Krishna, then such activities will be regarded as simply wastage of time. Sarma evahi kevalam. So therefore, this is, if one cannot, or if that work causes you to forget, not to remember Krishna, so that work is called simply wastage of time. Sarma evahi kevalam, right?
श्रीपाद महाराज आम जो प्रश्न पचारे कृष्ण चेतना विषय से विषय श्रीपाद महाराज कहले कृष्ण विषय मनन स्मरण एवं चिंतन स्मरण कीर्तन श्रवण यही सब जहाँ कहले आम दैनंदिन जीवन में आम धर्म सहित कर कथा एटा को दृढ़ीभूत करा जायछि वैदिक साहित्य ये जो धारणा ये जो चिंता जहाँ महाराज कहले एटा समस्त वैदिक साहित्य रे ये कथा को दृढ़ीभूत करा जायछि एवं श्रीमद् भागवत मध्ये कहा जाउछि धर्म सुनिश्चित पिंसा विशेषण कथा सुच नोत्पादयति जदिवति श्रम एव हि केवलम आमे जीवन रे कर्म करूचे किछि श्रम होउछि किंतु कृष्ण का चिंता जदि हमर रहे ताहाले सेही श्रम माध्यम रे आमे कृष्ण का चिंता करू अधिक अधिक भाव रे एवं आम जीवन सफल होए किंतु आमे जो कर्म करछु श्रम करछु रोजगार करछु यदि कृष्ण का चिंता नाही धर्म सुनिश्चित पिंसा विशेषण कथा सुच नोत्पादयति जदि रति कृष्ण कथा चिंता बा कृष्ण कथा श्रवण करिबार हमर जदि रति बा श्रद्धा जागृत न होउची ताले हम जो श्रम करछु बा रोजगार करछु ता एव केवल श्रम एव हि केवल
जय गुरु महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की
श्रीपाद महाराज ये प्रश्न उत्तर देला परे रूपपाद स्मरण करछन्ती एवं आनंद प्रकाश करछन्ती कारण ये प्रश्नटी प्रकृत रे साधारण
शिला श्रीपद महाराज की शिला श्रीपद महाराज 19th Mahamahotsav Tirubhav की. So Maharaj gave a very nice secret of how to unlock from material consciousness to Krishna consciousness in this beautiful lecture on liberation from karma bandhan 3.9 Bhagavad Gita. So now we have some senior assembled Vaishnavas welcoming His Grace Mukundatta Prabhu also, and His Grace Dinabandhu Prabhu also, and His Grace Dadi Bakshi Prabhu also. And if anybody has come after him, welcoming you all wholeheartedly on behalf of all the disciples of Srila Sripad Maharaj. Notice you have joined later. So we will very soon begin the offerings of the glorification for the transcendental pleasure of Srila Sripad Maharaj. And before we do that, request from His Holiness Damodara Swami that we play the Ashtakam. An Ashtakam has been composed by a devotee from welcoming Maharaj. An Ashtakam has been composed by one devotee from London by the name Karthik Chandra Prabhu. So we would like to play that, and then the moment we finish that, we can start the glorification.
Padau Satatam Tu Vande Shri Gaura Sankirtana Kananate Shri Rasa Leela Rasa Panakaye Valyahi Rakta Jagato Virakta Shri Padau Satatam Tu Vande Raya Grahe Neva Gurum Sadeve Paschatyanhe Shanbhaja Bhakta Bhagyam Teno Dadisvadadate Sadiksham Shri Padau Satatam Tu Vande Sarvasya Mitram Sadhu Sadhukami Notasya Shatruna Kadapya Bhutva Vijnaninam Bhagavatasya Druta Shri Padau Satatam Tu Vande Shikshamadat Ashtasama Prabhu Acharya Shikshamritam Antyashrota Shri Bhakti Vedanta Sabha Vidhata Shri Padau Satatam Tu Vande Samadhyanam Yantrika Dharmikanam Vishweva Purvam Shubhayojitaya Sheshadri Mule Bhavanasya Neta Shri Padau Satatam Tu Vande Padram Savigyananugrahatam Tena Karod Rangani Ketanam Yat Shri Radhikaya Mani Mandiram Tat Shri Padau Satatam Tu Vande Yadvatsvarupam Pratibhoriragash Chaitanya Devasya Sada Prasita Tadvadvikara Prabhu Padaraga Shri Padau Satatam Tu Vande Vaigyanika Satyaka Bhaktavarya Sadhushta Duta Prabhu Padayoto Radha Salisto Nitam Rampunutva Shripat Seva Rati Me Vayache Damodara Seva Kripa Valambi Vidyamani Yomani Desha Sutta Kalyanakari Karuna Samudra Shri Padau Satatam Tu Vande Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Shri Vaishnava Thakur Shri Vaishnava Thakur Shri Vaishnava Thakur Shri Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada
So now it's our good fortune to be hearing from all the senior God brothers and God sisters of Srila Sripad Maharaj. And may I first invite His Grace Dinabandhu Prabhu, kindly come and make your offering. The volume comes from there. माइक उधर चाहिए ना ये चालू है माइक के द्वारा ऑफ करूँगा
Hare Krishna. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manubhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Didati Svabadandikam Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhubheva patitanam bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So we're gathered here in this Sri Vrindavan Dham that Srila Prabhupada has revealed to the whole world to honor the 19th anniversary of the disappearance of our very dear and very wonderful godbrother, His Holiness Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Maharaj. So, what can I say? He was very fortunate. From his very birth, he was Krishna conscious. I remember one time we were in Jhansi and we went to visit one of our life members who run this Baidyanath Ayurvedic company. So they run a school there, so they invited us to do a program in the school, and they showed us, they had a whole room where the students had made dolls of all the different types of, all the different states of India and their typical type of dress and everything. And the Manipur one, of course, you've probably seen the ladies have this special type of dress and the men have special type of dress. And they all had Gaudiya Vaishnav tilak. This was just a Karmi school, but that Manipur is known for Gaudiya Vaishnavism. One of the disciples of Narottam Das Thakur, I can't remember just now, he went there and converted everyone to Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So he had that opportunity to be born in such a place. All the great souls, they always have very auspicious births. Like we have very inauspicious births. We don't want to talk about ourselves. But we see that Maharaj was very fortunate. And although he came from a small village, he was very intelligent. And finally he came to California to study in the university. And somehow somebody invited him to come to the Los Angeles temple. He wasn't so far away. And he met Srila Prabhupada. And that was a very important moment in his life when he met Srila Prabhupada. Then he began coming to the temple. At time I was in Portland, Oregon, and actually Prabhupada named our temple in Portland, Oregon, New Manipur. So I remember, so I went one time when I was in Delhi, I went to the Manipuri Emporium, so I asked them, how do you say how are you and what's the answer? So I learned, Karam Tubiri and Nunaijari. The answer is Nunaijari. So next time I met Maharaj, I shocked him. I said, Karam Tubiri. He looked at me like... Then he said the same thing to me, and I said, Nunaijari. And he was shocked completely. But he was always very, very kind upon me. And he fulfilled a great desire even from the time of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he wrote a poem in English. Beautiful song, so many verses English. Wasn't his language. Just like sometimes in school, teachers make us in the grammar class, we have to write a poem, you know. Even in your own language, it's a big headache. But to make a poem in perfect rhyme and meter in someone else's language is really something. So he has one line that shows even Bhaktivinoda Thakur had this desire. But tell me not in reasoning cold that man was made alone by earth's mechanic lifeless rules and to destruction prone. This is Prabhupada's all preaching to the scientists. And this, even in Bhaktivinoda's time, he was saying, tell me not in reasoning cold that man was made alone by earth's mechanic lifeless rules and to destruction prone. Just imagine, it's a beautiful, in a foreign language, he wrote this beautiful poetry. Even from the time of Bhaktivinoda, this was there, that we should challenge these scientists on there, that life is coming from some chemicals that we've never seen. They say it all came from a big bang, but we see, now we're seeing big bangs all over the world. All we see is destruction. Every day in the newspaper, we're seeing, buildings completely, big bangs happen and buildings are smashed and people are strewn here and there. Big bangs don't create anything, they destroy everything. So this was the mission that Prabhupada saw, that he called him Mr. Scientist. I can remember going in some morning walks, and I learned a lot about humility from Maharaj. Because we think humility means you go like this, but we're just grass humility. It's like in Mahaprabhu's Ecstatic it says, Trinadapi. So sometimes they say trin means grass, but trin means straw. Because the grass, he only fakes humility. You step on him, he goes down. As soon as you walk away, beep. But the straw on the street, he's just doing his dandavats like this. But we think it's just like that. But Maharaj, Prabhupada was training him up, so he would argue with Prabhupada. And he would present very firmly. I saw this was real humility, is to surrender to the order of the spiritual master. So Prabhupada wanted him to give the arguments of the scientists. So very boldly he was presenting these arguments, but in a very humble way. I saw that it was humble. He was very boldly putting all these arguments, and Prabhupada was smashing him to train him how to smash this atheistic philosophy that we see that's practically destroyed the whole world. Now everyone is completely mad after sense enjoyment. There's no question of spiritual life. The amount of people who believe in God is going down and down. So this was very important service, even from the time of Bhaktivinoda. And that is a wonderful service that His Holiness Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Swami, he completely surrendered. Every atom of his body was surrendered to the order of his spiritual master to defeat these scientists. And that was his real perfection. Sometimes people ask me why he was just about to achieve success in his work, because now we see him. Now more and more people are doubting scientists. And they're completely, all their theories are changing every month. They have some big telescope in the sky somewhere. Every time it's showing them something that doesn't fit their so-called theories about the earth and about the universe. Every month they have a new theory. And people are beginning to see through their farce, that they're just cheaters. So why Maharaj left us just when his work was bearing fruit, but actually the real success was that he surrendered to the order of his spiritual master. That was the success that he showed all of us. And you're all Those who were disciples, you're very fortunate to have such a wonderful spiritual master who was so completely surrendered. Every atom of his body was meant to satisfy the desire of Srila Prabhupada to defeat these rascal scientists. Srila Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Maharaja ki jai. I'll just keep it short and sweet, so there's many people here to speak. And Hare Krishna. Oh, one other thing we wanted to say. You see all these nice garlands with these white flowers. This is the Kairava. This only comes end of September and October. We sing every day in Sikshastakam, Shreya Kairava Chandrikavila. This is the Kairava, the white lily. It only comes this time of year. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, His Grace Dinabandhu Prabhu. Just love that statement of every atom of Srila Shiva was of his body was surrendered to the cause of Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. It's beautiful. Very scientific also. Thank you so much. Next, may I request thank you.
His Holiness Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Maharaja ki. Dinabandhu already said everything again. We're very fortunate to be able to come and remember such a dedicated follower of his spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. I was also in Bhuvanesh.
How to approach and how to convey this message, scientific message. Many times the story was told that one
scientist received the Nobel Prize for stating that they knew now the building blocks of how to, create life. And then Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Maharaj said to him that, well, if I give you all these ingredients, can you produce life? And the scientist said, that I cannot say. And see, Prabhupada, just see all these empty promises. And this is the Guru Parampara system. Krishna, he set the example by taking initiation, taking instruction from the Guru, carrying out the order of the spiritual master, his life and soul. Because without the blessings of the pure devotee, the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. And this humility that was spoken of, Dinabandhu mentioned, that to be humble and to appreciate that my spiritual master is representing Krishna, representing the supreme absolute truth. just like Vyasadeva took the role of being confused, although he's an incarnation and writing so many Vedanta Sutra, Mahabharata, and compiling all the various spiritual literatures, showing some dissatisfaction. And Narada Muni, he was came to enlighten or to guide him that, oh, you've given so much karma kanda and so much instructions on how to follow Vedas, but you did not glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Srimad Bhagavatam, Amala Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam ki. And so Bhaktisvarupa Damodar's kirtans were very emotional here. Was that one that he sang Vibhavari Shesha? There's one beautiful recording of Bhaktisvarupa Damodar. Yes, he was singing. And the culture, too, bringing the culture, the Vedic culture, from a different angle, from the Manipur. We saw this morning the beautiful dresses and outfits of all the deities. And will there be the dance? The dance will take in the evening time. Yes. I should listen to the announcements, right? This is the Vaishnava culture. Asat Sangha Avaishnava Achar. The devotees, they avoid the association of non-devotees. They don't want to hear about all the politics and all the dealings that are going on in the material world. Their only business is how to serve my spiritual master. Isn't it? I told a story yesterday how Garga Muni bought a dictaphone. Well, he was asking Prabhupada, I see you're doing everything for all of us. What can we do for you? And Prabhupada said the duty of the disciple is to assist his spiritual master in his work of spreading Krishna consciousness. So this was the determination of Srila Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Maharaj to produce books for the scientific field, because if you can actually convince with logic, science, and philosophy how this Srimad Bhagavatam, this Sanatan Dharma, Bhagavat Dharma, is the highest and will actually help people become free from all suffering, all anxieties. And this inspired the devotees to actually spread this knowledge of Krishna consciousness. So we take shelter of the spiritual master, try to help him in his work of spreading this message of Krishna consciousness, and it keeps us actually enlivened that we can glorify those special representatives. Everyone's special who's coming to Krishna consciousness. We don't know who, but just at the right time, Srila Prabhupada said, let me try. Prabhupada said, I'm just an ordinary person, but my Guru Maharaj ordered me to take this message of Krishna consciousness to the Western-speaking people. So he let me try, and all the devotees, Jai Srila Prabhupada, you've accomplished it. And so different personalities come at different times during the very dynamic 66 to 77, frankly speaking. And it seems like just at the right time, Krishna is sending different personalities to assist Prabhupada to spread this. All Srila Prabhupada's blessings, blessings of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, the whole Guru Parampara. But in our lifetime, we see that our godbrother satisfied Srila Prabhupada, and so that is the success of life, to satisfy the spiritual master. Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Maharaja ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. And the scientist that Prabhuji mentioned was Dr. Stanley Miller, who was a very famous scientist in the 60s, 50s, and who produced the building blocks of human chain, the amino acids, DNA, RNA, from just carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen. And he said, I can create life. So that is what beautifully Prabhuji was explaining. Thank you very much once again, Panchagauda Prabhu. Now we will invite Mataji's side from speaker. Her Grace, may I invite Her Grace Mahadevi kindly come and present your offering. Thank you.
Namah Vishnuvidaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitya Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharane Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paskachadesha Tarane. So, as Panchagoda Prabhu was saying, we're so fortunate that we get to come together from time to time to hear the glories of these great personalities who gave their life to serve Prabhupada's mission. And whenever we think of Swarup Damodar Maharaj, we just automatically think of how he pleased Srila Prabhupada in so many ways, and how he repeated what Prabhupada said. Prabhupada told us many times that if you simply repeat what I say and don't add anything, don't subtract anything, that in this way you can please me. So Swarup Damodar, because he was able to very effectively defeat the scientific point of view, this of course we know pleased Prabhupada very much. And as Panch was saying, when that book came out, Life Comes from Life, it was a very attractive title. So when we were on book distribution, we would lead with a smaller book, and then we would present the Bhagavatam, and everybody was so intrigued by Life Comes from Life. It was a very intriguing title. And actually, Prabhupada gave us the science of self-realization. So this Krishna consciousness, he said from the beginning, is not a religion, it's a science, it's a process, it's a lifestyle. And in this way, we were, Swarup Damodar Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, of course, was able to defeat the impersonalist way of thinking about life, and that this is coming, and that we can actually present personalism by defeating this scientific point of view. I remember I'd never had any personal association with Swarup Damodar Maharaj, but his disciples, we invited them for the 40th 10 years ago, and we did the entertainment for 5 nights. They came with their beautiful dances and their beautiful martial arts. Of course, they're very adept at that Vedic art. And Maharaj was always promoting, Swarup Damodar Maharaj was always promoting the cultural arts as well as the philosophical understanding of what Krishna has given us and what Prabhupada has given us. And I was very impressed by, as we were saying, humility. It's not just, bowing our head the right time, but it's actually a realization of how we speak to each other, how we behave. And I noticed that Maharaj's disciples, they really had imbibed a sense of servant, that this is what they could do to please their spiritual master. And I was very inspired by that. And still, his disciples here in the temple, I'm close to many of them, and they have such a dedicated sense of pushing on Prabhupada's mission through the potency of Swarup Damodar Maharaj. So Maharaj was saying in class, which I was just hearing Prabhupada saying the same thing this morning, that even the big elephant in the jungle, the Lord is providing for the big elephant. So what is the problem for providing for us? So Maharaj was saying the same thing, that the mercy of the Lord is what we depend on. That's what our whole life is about. And not just, as Prabhupada was saying this morning, Arjuna didn't just sit around and wait for the mercy to fall. He had to fight. So Prabhupada many times would remind us we're on the battlefield and we have to fight. But at the same time, we have to be humble. So to fight and be humble is an interesting quandary. Swarup Damodar Maharaj, I've heard him talk about forgiving and being compassionate. Compassion is the jewel of the Vaishnava. So he too was always, when some devotee would make a mistake, his disciples have told me this, that they would come and, like Prabhupada would say, what's done is done. That was a very famous saying Prabhupada would say. So in the same way, Swarup Damodar Maharaj would give little mind to someone making a mistake, but then how do you carry on? How do you rectify the mistake in your behavior and then pushing on Prabhupada's mission? So I have, when I see in my mind Prabhupada and Swarup Damodar Maharaj walking on the ocean, and you just know, just by seeing a picture of Swarup Damodar Maharaj, how much love and devotion he had for serving Srila Prabhupada. And I feel very grateful that I even know about such a personality, and I pray that I too can develop some real love and devotion like Swarup Damodar Maharaj. Swarup Damodar Maharaj ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mother Madhavan. So just reminding one quote from Maharaj. So every devotee is speaking about Maharaj's humility, quality. I'll tell the one, just reminding one story from Srila Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. In 2002, we are in GBC meeting in Mayapur. So because after a long time, Tamal Krishna Maharaj came to Mayapur. So Sripad Maharaj wanted to see him. So he wrote me a letter with me and asked me to get appointment to meet with him. So when I went to meet Srila Tamal Krishna Maharaj, I gave the letter. He told me that your Guru Maharaj does not need any appointment. Anytime he can come and meet me, because I offended him. How can you offend him? Then he reminded in 1977, when Srila Prabhupada was here in Vrindavan, that time Sripad Maharaj came for a long flight from a different place to here before a conference, Life Comes from Life. So he went to see Srila Prabhupada. That is, Tamal Krishna Maharaj was taking care of Srila Prabhupada. He told, no, now he cannot see Prabhupada because he is resting. So Maharaj went to guest house. So just after 5 minutes, Srila Prabhupada called Tamal Krishna Maharaj. So, is Swarup Damodar come here? So Maharaj got shocked. He could not say that I refused him to meet him. So then after 1 hour, Sripad Maharaj came to see Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada asked, you did not come to see me? Oh, Srila Prabhupada, I got tired. That's why I took rest. Sripad Maharaj did not complain that, oh, Tamal Krishna Maharaj stopped me to see you. So that was Maharaj was reminding, oh, I offended Maharaj because I did not allow him to see Prabhupada. But Prabhupada was waiting for Sripad Maharaj. So that was the humility Tamal Krishna Maharaj reminding how gentleman he was. He was not blaming anybody else, but rather he was like, Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Maharaj, for bringing it up, and also Mataji, Madhavi Mataji, for beautiful offering. And the point which you mentioned about humility is a realization that comes from within on how to speak. Was really wonderful. And also I like the point on how Krishna conscious is so scientific, and that has been very objectively presented by Srila Sripad Maharaj. Thank you very much. Now may I invite His Grace Mukundatta Prabhu, Srila Prabhupada disciple, to kindly help with this offering.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. The Paramatma within the hearts of all the devotees sometimes inspires them to say all the same things. I was thinking when I came in this morning, before anyone even began to speak, that I would like to say something about the ferocious humility of Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Maharaj. I'll explain. So, I went to a program that he had organized for the Ranganiketam troupe in Dallas sometime in the 1980s or maybe 90s, I don't remember exactly the date. So I was struck by the such soft beauty of the presentation there, in the Ras Leela in particular. We have we have a total separation in some of the classical dance forms between the heavy masculine, forceful presentation like the Manipuri martial arts, and then very, very soft feminine called lasya in Manipuri and other dances as well. So I looked around that program and I saw that many people, these are Texans in America, United States, and they were just so completely moved by this performance that they had tears rolling down their eyes. Non-devotees. We don't really know, but I am assuming non-devotees. So Maharaj had the keen intelligence to appreciate. You have to appeal to the left brain and the right brain as well. So, ferocious humility. It struck me the next morning because I saw Maharaj early morning japa time. So I paid obeisances to him. And when I stood up, he just looked at me and he shook his bead bag and said, "Hare Krishna," like thunder. I thought, wow, this is such a big difference between what I saw last night, and his whole mood was so completely enlivened, like a lion. And so I, in the years since then, I've appreciated one thing about him, is that he, as several other speakers have said also, he was transparent. That was the manifestation of his humility. He was able to, as it were, channel the presence of Srila Prabhupada and the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, unfiltered, uncut, not watered down, nothing changed. One example comes to mind. I don't know if they were speaking to a theologian or a scientist in Srila Prabhupada's garden in Los Angeles, where I'm from. So they were sitting there, and this man was speaking on and on about so many high topics that he had very little realization about. And Srila Prabhupada is just asking him, who is God? And the person said, well, I'm afraid that I can't say much about that. And Prabhupada turned to Swarup Damodara Maharaj and said, he's taken the position of a professor, he's a teacher, but he doesn't know what he's talking about. What do you call that? And Swarup Damodara Maharaj, without missing a beat, he just answered straight, cheater, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada used to emphasize the backwards of teacher is cheater. So he was not afraid to say that, right in front of the man, right in Prabhupada's presence. And he was, I think, of all of the scientist disciples that Prabhupada had, there were a few of them, but he was the one with the most force, because he was the one with the most humility. And he created, and under Prabhupada's direction, he managed, organized, and made a very effective entity in the form of Bhaktivedanta Institute. And the significant thing about this is not the accomplishments of that institute or even the purpose of the institute or its activities, but the surrender, which is at its core within the heart of Swarup Damodara Maharaj. That surrender was an aspect of his intense humility, very tremendous humility. One more thing before I stop, I would like to glorify is his kirtan. Also, we know very nectarian Manipuri kirtan has its own special flavor. And when Maharaj would sing, it was just such a soothing thing for the ears to hear this kirtan. And I just wish that Rupa Goswami, he prayed that when he chants Hare Krishna, he wishes he had thousands of tongues. I wish that this movement had thousands and thousands and thousands of such Swarup Damodara Maharajas. And all of you, especially those who are his disciples, you have that onus. You have to replicate his character in your person, in your words, in your actions, in your accomplishments, just as Maharaj did with his own spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. Because yasya deve para bhaktir yatha deve tatha guru tasya iti katita hirtaha prakashante mahatmanaha. That's the final word of the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Very, very important lesson. At least in the beginning, it's the most important lesson. So Swarup Damodar Maharaj pleased Srila Prabhupada, as several other speakers have also pointed out. That is his example to be emulated. So we bow at his lotus feet and pray for his blessings on this day and thank Lord Krishna for sending such a wonderful disciple to Srila Prabhupada to give such a wonderful example to the rest of us. His Holiness Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanand.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much, His Grace Mukundatta Prabhu. It was highly inspiring offering, especially for the disciples of Srila Sripad Maharaj, and how you have inspired that how we should follow his footsteps to please him the way he pleased Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much. Three take-home message from your talk, from your offering. Ferocious humility. Wow, that's a wonderful thing. Oxymoron, no? They call it oxymoron. And then you also mentioned about how transparent he was in terms of unfiltered presentation of Srila Prabhupada's Tattva. And you mentioned about his kirtan abilities. Wonderful. Thank you. I think virtually you summed up his persona completely. Thank you so much. Before we announce the next person to speak, a small reminder, there will be 1:30 p.m. Pushpanjali, and then of course 2 o'clock will be the feast. And evening, please don't forget, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Krishna Balram Mandir courtyard, there is going to be a cultural program. Don't miss that, because that's going to be, there are Manipuri artists who have been specially invited from Delhi, and they are going to perform some sequence of their dance, along with some devotee children who would also contribute their skills and arts for the pleasure of Srila Sripad. Okay, next may I kindly invite Mataji, Sachi Mata. Sachi Mata, Mataji, would you like to come and glorify? Thank you. And in case if anyone, I've missed out, I've taken down few names, but in case if I've missed any name, or if anyone, especially Srila Prabhupada disciples are here whose name has not yet been taken, please let me know. I would like to include it ASAP.
Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vishnuvibhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. I must say that I'm really surprised that I'm here and speaking about Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Maharaj. Very recently, I was in Puri and I met Sachi Rani Mataji. And we were just exchanging, it was in Tota Gopinath temple. We were just exchanging, oh, who is your Guru Maharaj? I said, my Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisvarupa Swami. And she said, is Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Maharaj. So I thought, I share, my incident with her. Perhaps she will be happy. And when I came here this morning, I just wanted to sit down at the back and just listen to all of your glorification for Maharaj. But she called me, they called me in to speak the same thing what I spoke to her. So what it was actually, it was the day Maharaj left his body. Somehow or the other, I do not know why I was in one of my godbrother's house at 5 o'clock in the morning in Calcutta. And it was around about 6 o'clock, if I remember correctly, that there was a phone call came and said that Maharaj is no longer here. So, it was Chaitanya Das' house, and he immediately said, "Come on, we all have to go." Actually, Maharaj's apartment and my house was in Calcutta, not very far. So we immediately set off to go to his apartment. And in the meantime, many phone calls came that Maharaj, although he has left, but there is no flowers, no garland, no nothing. Could you please bring that many garlands? So one by one phone call was coming, and it mounted up to quite a few garlands, But as I said, it was early in the morning. Not all the markets were open. So we were gathering garlands from one market, then we were going to another market, then we are going to another market. So in this way, we gathered few garlands, quite a few garlands. And my brother was also with me. So we all set off to see Maharaj. By the time we went there, we actually saw we saw Maharaj, and he looked effulgent. He looked absolutely effulgent. I never really realized that he was no longer here, So anyway, I was so involved seeing him, and besides that our house was very close, so I was most of the time that day. If I remember correctly, I think it was Ekadashi on that day. Can you correct me? It was Ekadashi on that day. And they were requesting us to make some chips and things like that, at least for the children. So we went and we did that. But then I got so involved, I actually wanted to go with Maharaj's body to Vrindavan or Manipur or wherever. But there was a lot of dispute that what to do with the body, to take or not to take, and this and that. So finally I had to, I thought probably I best that I leave it for the time being. So Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Maharaj really didn't look to me that he left this world. So this was the only little incident. I have no qualification to be here, but due to Sachirani, she insisted that I should speak. So this was my little incident which I wanted to share with you. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Hare Krishna. Sri Sri Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Maharaj ki
No, thank you so much.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. I remember that day morning we were struggling to get prasadam for auntie, but because many
you were
guests
there?
were coming.
You were there?
Yeah, early morning I arrived there.
Yes.
So when many guests were coming, because a disciple we don't take, so she helped so much for the prasadam. And next day also
very
Dwadasi.
little. We
Thank you.
didn't know. Very
Thank you so
little we
much.
helped. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Sachi Mata. I was also there, but I didn't realize it was you who was helping, because we know that some neighboring house help was coming, and we were completely dependent upon the neighbor. Thank you so much. It was very nice remembrance of that particular day, early morning. Next, may I invite His Grace Dadi Bakshi Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Say loudly, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. His Holiness Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Maharaj Tirubhav Tithi Mahotsav ki jai. Shri Krishna Balram ki jai. Guruve Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine. So today is very special day. It's called Navaratri, Navami Tithi. So this is Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Maharaj, the functions going on here. So everybody is very fortunate to attend here, whoever came, the place, Krishna Balaram temple. So because time is very short, the Prabhuji already announced that 1 o'clock the Pushpanjali, so I'll speak very few minutes. So now, because I know Maharaj, when I joined here in 1975 in the Vrindavan, he was very close to Prabhupada. At that time he was a brahmachari. He was working with him. When Prabhupada gave class, he was very near to by. Then I was a pujari here. I asked some other devotee, my friend. Well, I told, who this short brahmachari is always along with Prabhupada. Prabhupada always, he calls him nearby, come here. So they told me, they say that he's from Manipur. He's one of the big scientists, devotee. So as Maharaj was even that type of position, he was very educated, scientist, big, but he's very humble, always he's folding hind, whoever, very, 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 very pure in heart he have. When he's singing bhajan, Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya, when he's singing Vaishnava Thakur, he's singing Ye Anilo Premadhana, Parama Karuna Bahujudina Antai Gaura Chandra. Then when tears our eye when he's singing that bhajan, so sweet, with a Manipuri language. So that time was a Bombay, that time 1980, 81, 82. So that time was Tamal Krishna Maharaj GBC and Bombay temple. And so Prabhupada asking Tamal Krishna Maharaj, so that because Swarup Damodar, he's a big scientist, so we have to give him the place for pitching and BI. So you have to provide him. Then they decided that the GBC should support him. Then Prabhupada, then Tamal Krishna Maharaj, then after they decided that he give the big facility like Bhaktivedanta Institute, second floor and the guest house for the preaching purpose, for scientific preaching. Then Maharaj, Maharaj was there and Bombay, there are wonderful preaching going on all the colleges, everywhere, all his disciples, so dedicated, bookstall, all the scientific books, PhD, so many programs going on that time in the Bombay Jew temple. Even that Mukunda Mahadeva Prabhu, even still now he's preaching, he dedicated, Maharaj orders, he got different places, scientific preaching in India, opening new center like that. So his disciples are so dedicated, and Maharaj wants they should preach in scientific way, because this Kali Yuga, the people the scientists is not believing in Krishna consciousness. So that way, Bhaktisvarupa Maharaj, he make so many program, like, Manipur, he opened the big temple, ashram over there, and then he bring Manipuri culture. I was in Bombay. One time he brought so many Manipuri culture for dancing. Evening time, they were all the Manipuri Pakari, all the Prabhupada disciples, God brothers,
such a wonderful Manipuri prasadam cooking. So Maharaj have make so wonderful things for Manipuri activities, other for the other area to to enlightenment to other devotee. So Maharaj very good quality. Always Hare Krishna. How are you? Because I am from Nepal, so he always said to me, we have Manipuri, so many Nepalis. You should come once for preaching this and that. But I was busy. I was a pujari. I was a preacher over there. When I was a membership director Bombay, then his disciple, they are collecting money. He told me that you should help this devotee like Sudama, all this membership department. So because that collection is go to Manipur temple for build the temple. So Maharaj was always asking me, how are you preaching, how is everything like that. So Maharaj is very kind upon for me also. Such a wonderful God brothers. He dear to everyone. So today is his disappearance day. So I pray at his lotus feet. Please give me your mercy. Then I can serve to Prabhupada mission. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Maharaja ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you very much. His Grace Hadi Bakshi Prabhu ki jai. Thank you so much. So many sweet memories Prabhuji brought out from Juhu temple in those days, golden years of book distribution, BI programs, Maharaj programs and all that. And is Sachi Mata still there? Mataji, the day he departed was Vijay Dashmi, not Ekadashi.
No, next day was Ekadashi.
Yeah, no, she had mentioned next day we took chips from, No, I think you said he left on Ekadashi. You were asking that question. He asked that way. I think he left on Ekadashi. So the next day was Ekadashi. It was Vijay Dashami. That is, tomorrow is actually the departure day, which will be a celebrating in Radhakund. Anyway, so Vijay Dashami night. Yeah, about 10:30. Yeah. Okay. Next day was Ekadashi. Correct. Okay. But we take the day of departure anyway. So now we would invite His Grace Mukundata Prabhu. Please come. Enlighten us. Prabhuji has got a lot of association of Maharaj, and we hope to get some nectar now.
Hope to get some nectar now. Nectar all the time.
Hare Krishna. Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. His Holiness Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Maharaja ki. So we are very fortunate to be assembled here in Vrindavan Dham on the occasion of Vijay Dashami. It is the disappearance day of course, tomorrow, but sometimes the tithis are overlapping. So I had the good fortune of meeting His Holiness many times, and especially here in Sri Vrindavan Dham. And also in Switzerland I met him 2 times because he used to go regularly to Switzerland for preaching, Switzerland and France, and he has disciples there also. But mostly I met him here in Sri Vrindavan Dham, and I had the good fortune of having personal association, getting his mercy, specifically in regards to the service of Srila Prabhupada, and of course the deities also. Actually, because in the beginning days here in Sri Vrindavan Dham, we didn't have so much manpower and we didn't have so much money. Now we have so many devotees to serve, and money is coming also by Krishna's mercy. But in the beginning, late in the 80s and beginning 90s also, it was sometimes a little difficult. So we had difficulties in doing the seva for Radha Damodar and Prabhupada seva there, and also for the Samadhi. Therefore the GBC had made a resolution that certain GBC members, they will have to take care of the seva in the Radha Damodar, sannyasis, especially by going there themselves and doing the seva for Prabhupada and Radha Damodar. And for the Samadhi here, so the GBC or the sannyasis, they had to come here and they had to give some money for the seva of Srila Prabhupada in the Samadhi. I believe it was maybe $300 for 2 months. And they had to give 2 pujaris. So I was giving the responsibility to make sure that the GBCs are coming with the money and with the devotees, which was very difficult. And many times, somehow at that time, there was no WhatsApp or internet, or difficult to make phone calls from Vrindavan Dham. Trunk call was there. Big challenge. And letters also, you write letter. Of course, email started. But then I was trying, but many times, oh yes, I'm coming a little later, or sometimes not coming. Difficult to manage. And we didn't have many devotees here. But His Holiness Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Maharaj, he always came without fail, maybe 2 days before, when he had to start the seva and the samadhi. He came himself, gave immediately the money for the seva, and had 2 pujaris with him. And he himself, the first 2 days he was there, and he was seeing so he was helping with the seva himself, and he was seeing that the disciples would learn nicely and then do the seva, and then he used to go. So from that I had this wonderful experience, and how he was very much conscious and that we have to serve Prabhupada here in our samadhi, and very nicely. And so he was doing the responsibility which was given to him very nicely. And of course by that also I could see that he was always very humble, although he was very well known in our society as a great scientist, and so very dear to Srila Prabhupada, because so he was then asked by Prabhupada to try to defeat the Maya, the scientists with their philosophy, the Big Bang Theory and other philosophies. And for that purpose also, so he was practically doing that, but in a very nice Vaishnav way. So that even the scientists, the atheists, they liked him because he was a nice person, a nice devotee. And then also, so he wrote quite some books which have been printed also, and by his mercy and his followers also. So I always was getting all the books by His Holiness. And then of course he was giving class, and when he was giving class, he was speaking many times in scientific terms, which was all right. But then I liked more actually his devotional side, Manipur, from Manipur. And because besides the preaching in the scientific field, which he was doing successfully, and so that his one side was there, because it was the order of Srila Prabhupada also. But then as a Vaishnava, it is natural that he will bring the devotional side also. And so the Manipur culture, which is also Vaishnava culture, so that was very much impressive. So as we can see, here the photos were there, and just before. And when he was coming here, so he used to come actually every year for Prabhupada's Disappearance Day without fail. Every year he was here for maybe at least 3 days. And so Prabhupada's Disappearance Day, he was always there. Of course, speaking also about Prabhupada, glorifying Prabhupada. And then for the Abhishek, he was always there. And then usually after Abhishek, then we were going to the Samadhi, because Abhishek was many times in Balaram Hall at that time, and then later on, of course, so Pandal was made also. And in the beginning also the Abhishek was there actually when there were not so many devotees, less devotees in the Samadhi itself. But then usually after the Abhishek, then we have the Bhog offering. And after that was almost time for Prasad, and then already Prasad was being distributed just for practical reason because so many devotees and visitors were there. But then Puspanjali had to be done also, and then Artik. At that time, then less devotees are there, but His Holiness was always there for Puspanjali and for doing Artik to Srila Prabhupada in the Samadhi on the Disappearance Day, without fail. One year he was doing Artik, and then the other year usually Gopakrishna Maharaj was doing Artik. So this way I had a good fortune to being always near him and trying to assist in the service. So in this way I could see his wonderful qualities of a Vaishnav. So the main qualities, of course, Savaika, Krishnaika Sharanam. So surrender to Krishna with body, mind and words, so that we could see. Always engage in service, speaking about Krishna or about devotional service. And so we understand also thinking about that. So and then, but although he was in our society, GBC, man, spiritual master, guide, great scientist, but he was always very humble and easily approachable, even for devotees who were not in a position, but they could approach him. At least myself, sometimes I was going to his room and then speaking about some subject matter for some time. So that was very impressive. And one time, I can't remember the year, but he came here to perform the Vyasa Puja, his Vyasa Puja, which is sometimes in December. So which year it was? 2005, yes. So there's one place, Radhepriya and Radhedam. So it was held there. And so the devotees, they came there, and of course the traditional flavor was there. So he was himself wearing a traditional turban, Manipuri, and then he gave to all the senior devotees one turban also. They gave me one too. Of course I'm already wearing most of the time. And then, so then he had the pictures of Srila Prabhupada and Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, so the previous acharyas, because actually Vyasa Puja is not just that the spiritual master is worshipped. And so he was well aware that actually tradition is a Gauri Vaishnava tradition, and therefore Prabhupada also introduced that at the end we have Puspanjali, and then we recite the pranam mantras of the previous acharyas. So that is there. So the spiritual master is the representative of Srila Vyasadeva, the representative of the Guru Parampara, the representative of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Radha and Krishna. So he was most knowledgeable in the scientific field. He was very knowledgeable, but also in the Vaishnava tradition and the essence of the Vaishnava philosophy, Gauri Vaishnava philosophy. And of course in the tradition of Manipur. So that was a nice experience. And then there was a feast there also in the temple, Manipuri style. First of all, they had leaf plates, banana leaf plates, which usually we don't have. But they arranged banana leaf plates. And then Maharaj was there, and all the senior devotees were seated. And Maharaj himself, he was supervising the serving and making sure that they are serving in a proper way. Rice and then dal and then the sabjis and whatever. So many preparation, maybe 16, 17 preparations were there. And they had a kind of, first time I saw kind of blackish color of famous Manipuri rice. What is it called?
It's Manipuri rice.
Manipuri rice, blackish. That white rice also for everyone, but then had a blackish color rice also, and some traditional Manipuri preparations were there. So many preparations, and so that was very wonderful and exemplary. So, and then there was a cultural program also in the evening, and then the traditional Mridanga players were there for Manipur, having a performance in the evening, playing very nicely the drum in a very artistic way. So in this way, he was not only preaching to the scientists and defeating them with love, but then he was introducing also the Vaishnava culture and different areas in Bharatvarsha in India. So different cultures are there. So the Bengali, the Gaudiya Bhaktas are there, and the Bengali culture is there, and the Oriya Bhaktas are there, and their culture, and then Manipur also. And even in South India, of course, there are less Gaudiya Vaishnavas there, but they have a culture also, Vaishnava culture, more South Indian than the Sri Sampradaya. And in Western, Tukaram, Western India was there, and they have their style of kirtan. So different styles are there of the Vaishnava culture in regards to singing, bhajans, and the dress code and so on. And just like today also in the temple, traditional Manipuri style of dress was offered, that was sponsored a few years ago by the disciples of His Holiness Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Maharaj. So every year on this day when we observe the disappearance day of Maharaj, then we put this dress for the deities. So we can see a special dress which is traditional style, which is beautiful. So in this way I have very wonderful memories of His Holiness Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Maharaj as a very dear disciple of Srila Prabhupada and established in the Vaishnava culture. And one more thing, so as the Acharya is there and he's teaching the disciples and he's helping the disciples to advance, or those who take shelter of him. And he was established actually in Navadvip Dham. He had his own temple there. Of course, we have our ISKCON temple in Mayapur, but he has a temple in Navadvip. And actually very nice relationship with all the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And as we know, so we are followers of Mahaprabhu and we are followers of Krishna. So we want to go to Navadvip in the spiritual world, and we want to go to Golok. So he was already established, and that is the Acharya. He's there in the Acharya Swarup, but then he's there in Gaur Lila and Krishna Lila. So he had a temple in Navadvip, and so then he had a temple here in Braj also, at the most holy place of Radhakund. So which is also significant, because our Acharyas, the followers of Rupa Goswami, were known as Rupanuga Vaishnavas. And Rupa Goswami specifically, very dear to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and so they're in Navadvip. And then in Krishna Lila, Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari, very dear associate of Sri Radha Krishna, specifically Srimati Radharani. And so, at noon time every day, they meet in Radhakund, Radha and Krishna, and the gopis and manjaris only. So that is actually the most holy place in the universe. So he had his place there, and where he used to go sometimes, and so the temple is there, and some of his disciples are there, and his samadhi is there also. So he left his body. As we know, there was a unfortunate incident in Manipur, and there was a bomb attacked. I think 2 devotees died, right? 2 devotees, but Maharaj was slightly injured, but then he recovered. But then somehow also I had heard that then he was very much, for quite some time after the incidents, so he was very much trying to be deeply absorbed in Radha and Krishna's pastimes, and they were doing Lila Kirtan, or he was hearing Lila Kirtan. Must be from Orissa, or what I'd heard, or from Bengal, or maybe Manipur also. And he was listening to wonderful pastimes of Radha and Krishna in the form of singing, like it is famous in especially Bengal. And then we heard, unfortunately, that he left his body, I believe in Calcutta, or yeah, and then his body was brought here. I was there at that time also. And so then he was brought to the temple, and darshan, the last darshan was there, so in front of the deities, and then his body was brought to Radhakund, and then he was put in samadhi. And so then actually there, I believe his disciples, so because they had a good relationship with all the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, so then actually one of Prabhupada's god brothers, Bhakti Pramukh Puri Maharaj, his main disciple successors, Bodhai Maharaj was actually invited, who was overseeing putting him in samadhi. So, and then very nicely there was program performed according to tradition. I believe for 10 days programs were held in so according to tradition it was very nicely done. And so the glories of His Holiness are practically unlimited, so the pure devotees. So I had the good fortune of having his association, and I prayed to him so that I may be able to become more and more absorbed in the service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Radha Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. His Holiness Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Maharaja ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Sisi Gonitai ki, Krishna Balaram ki, Radha Shama Sundar ki. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, His Grace Mukundata Prabhu. And thank you very much for the outfit of today's Radha Sham Sundar Lalita Vishaka. Beautiful Manipuri outfit. It's so brilliant that when we see that in Shringar Arati, we are immediately able to connect to Manipur and the glories of the land. Thank you very much. And also thank you for highlighting that quality of Maharaj, where you mentioned that every year, without fail, for Srila Prabhupada's disappearance day, Maharaj is to come and he is to personally serve in the temple. Thank you so much. Now we are having limited time, but still good enough to cover 3 more glorifications. And I would now request His Holiness Bhakti Narayan Goswami Maharaj, Bhakti Narayan Gaurav Goswami Maharaj. Thank you so much.
He write purple name, Bhakti Gaurav Narayan.
Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Shriyam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sopadantikam Vandeyam Shri Guru Sitapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavansya Shri Rupam Shakrajatam Shagana Raguna Nitam Tam Sajivam Sattvetam Savadutam Pariyana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Shri Radha Krishna Padam Shagana Lita Shri Visakanitam So we have limited time, so
No problem.
So today we are observing the pre-Disappearance festival of Srila Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Swami Maharaja. So as far as myself is concerned, I have few interactions with Maharaj, and we all know that like how Maharaj was very humble and also very simple at heart, because the Vaishnavas, they are very simple at heart. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say that simplicity is Vaishnavism. Unless one is very simple at heart, one cannot become a Vaishnava. So duplicitous persons, they cannot become Vaishnavas. So Maharaj was very simple at heart, and also in his behavior. Maharaj was very simple also. So I had met Maharaj here in Vrindavan few times during post-Gaur Punya festivals in the 1980s. But I had no interaction with him. But when Maharaj became GBC for Bhubaneswar after Srila Gaur Swami Maharaj, so that time I used to go from Govardhan. By that time I had shifted to Govardhan and was taking care of Govardhan ashram. So I used to go from Govardhan to Odisha for preaching. So one time I was in Bhubaneswar and there was a program at Cuttack. That was Netaji Southern or something, I don't remember. Somewhere there was a pub that was in a big hall. So I was accompanying Maharaj in the same car and we went to the program, and after the kirtan Maharaj was he was going to speak. Then I was asked to translate Maharaj's speech into Odia. So whenever Maharaj speaks or gives Bhagavatam class, generally Maharaj speaks about science, scientific knowledge, about scientists, all these things. So when Maharaj started speaking in that program, and he was using many scientific terms, and I had great difficulty to translate into Oriya. So somehow or other I managed. So after the program, and then there was prasadam. And devotees had arranged prasadam for Maharaj separately, but Maharaj wanted to take prasadam with all the devotees. He was so simple and very humble. So Maharaj wanted to take prasadam with all the general devotees. So Maharaj also asked us to sit with him, so we all sat down with Maharaj, and Maharaj was taking prasadam, and he was also looking towards the other devotees' plates and telling them, give this, give that. So in that way he was actually taking care of other devotees also. So I realized that how Maharaj was so simple and so humble. He was taking care of all the devotees and taking prasadam with the devotees. So that was one experience with him. But then I have seen when Maharaj used to lead kirtan, and his kirtan was not of this material world. Anyone who will hear his kirtan, it would take one to the spiritual realm. So, because he was a great devotee of Krishna, and he was from a very humble and personal background, so he was actually carrying devotion in his heart wherever he went. And whomever he met, he actually made them devotees, convinced them in Krishna consciousness. And so Prabhupada was very much proud of Srila Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Swami Maharaja. Whenever I hear Prabhupada's lecture, and Prabhupada used to say in his lectures that our Swarup Damodara. So unless the spiritual master would feel the disciple as his own, he will never say that our Swarup Damodara. So Prabhupada was actually warning him. So Swarup Damodara Swami Maharaj was making Srila Prabhupada very proud of preaching Krishna consciousness to the scientists. And Srila Prabhupada, when he went to the West, though Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur ordered him to preach Krishna consciousness in the Western world, but Srila Prabhupada has two things in his mind. One is to establish Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that we all know that when Prabhupada formed this society, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, some devotees objected. Some devotees suggested that it should be International Society for God Consciousness. Prabhupada said no. The whole world should know who is God. God is a term anyone can say anyone is God. But Prabhupada wanted to establish that Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And second thing, because the whole world was following scientists because of this modern education system. That's why Prabhupada wanted to break that source, that the educated people, those who are following the scientists and thinking that the scientists are great and there is no God, scientists are practically God. So Prabhupada wanted to break that chain actually, to bring people to Krishna consciousness. That's why he wanted to expose the weakness of the scientists. And to Prabhupada, of course, in his lectures, though he was exposing the weakness of the scientists, but he was looking for a person who is from a scientific background, whom he could train, and he would defeat all the scientists. And Krishna arranged. Krishna fulfilled Prabhupada's desire. And Srila Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Swami Maharaj became a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, who was from a scientific background. And Prabhupada personally trained him to how to defeat the scientists. Like Dinabandhu Prabhu or someone was saying, that how Prabhupada was telling to ask him questions, argue with him on behalf of scientists, and Prabhupada was smashing the scientific theories. So in that way, Srila Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Swami Maharaj became a tool in Prabhupada's hand to defeat the scientists and establish Krishna consciousness and establish Krishna as the supreme scientist of this universe. So, Srila Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Swami Maharaj actually was a glory of ISKCON. And Srila Maharaj, in his personal life, though he was speaking Krishna consciousness in a scientific way to convince the scientists. But in his heart, he was a devotee of Radha and Krishna. As we all know that how he left his body hearing the Rasla pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And I have seen also when Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Swami Maharaja used to come to Radha Kund. One time I was in Govardhan. I came to see Maharaj at Radha Kund and invite him to come to Govardhan Ashram. So when I arrived at Radha Kund, then I asked one devotee that I want to see Maharaj. Then he said, Maharaj, it is very difficult. Maharaj is surrounded by so many people in his room. So it is very difficult to see him. So if you want to see him, you personally go to that room and try. So when I went into his room, I saw that was like so many people surrounding Maharaj, so many Brajvasi Brahmins. They were also surrounding Maharaj there. And Maharaj could not say anything to anyone. But when I went there and paid my obeisances to Maharaj and stood there, waited to see that if Maharaj could see me, then immediately Maharaj could see me and then immediately started talking with me. So then I asked Maharaj to come to Govardhan because Maharaj had never visited Govardhan. So I invited him. So then Maharaj said, okay, I will come. And then immediately he got up. Then he said, let us go for Radhakund Parikrama. So then everyone started following Maharaj, and then we all went to do Radhakund Parikrama. And then later on in the day, Maharaj did come to Govardhan. Then I was taking him around and showing him. So that was first time Maharaj went to Govardhan. And second time, when Maharaj last Vyaspuja in Vrindavan, after Vyaspuja, Maharaj was taking all the devotees for Govardhan Parikrama. And then Maharaj that time also came to our Govardhan ashram, and also he took breakfast there. And that time they had prepared all this Manipuri breakfast. So Maharaj also invited me to sit with him, but we had already taken prasadam. But anyway, I stayed with Maharaj, and after prasadam, then I again saw Maharaj all the developments. So that was the last time Maharaj visited. So anyway, Maharaj's simplicity and his humility and his devotion actually attracted me towards Maharaj. And he helps Srila Prabhupada also in so many ways in scientific preaching. And Maharaj did so many things, publishing scientific articles, scientific books. So all these things to prove that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and he is the Supreme Scientist. So actually we are remembering Maharaj's dedication to Srila Prabhupada's mission, and we will always pray at his lotus feet to give us or bless us that we could also dedicate our life for the service of Srila Prabhupada's mission. Jai Srila Swarupa Damodara Swami Maharaja ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada Maharaja ki, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Thank you very much. His Holiness Bhaktisvarupa Swami Maharaja ki. Two, three very important qualities of Sripad Maharaj. One is Saraltai Hi Vaishanata. Bhaktisiddhanta Swami's famous quote. Then Maharaj also mentioned about the humility, and most importantly, what touched me was, like most of us, that his kirtans came from the spiritual world. That was very, very nice, Maharaj. You have recollected those qualities. So, anybody, I'm sure most of us would be itching to have Manipuri kind of delicacy that's available tomorrow at Radhakund. So, feel free to join the celebrations in Radhakund Tirubha Fest. That's tomorrow at the Samadhi Mandir, Gopalji Mandir, and you can be treated with a lot of Manipuri dishes as well. So, we are doing well on time, slightly over time, but that's okay. That's for the pleasure of Srila Sripad Maharaj, because so many good qualities people are speaking, so we would like to hear. So, we have three more speakers. So, first I would like to invite Mata Haripriya Mataji, then Ishwara Prabhu, and after that His Holiness Radha Shamananda Swami Maharaj, and then of course in the end I would request His Holiness Atmayoga Swami to do a complete conclusion of this morning session. Hare Krishna.
Vanchakalpataruvishya kripa sindhuye cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namah. I had a few interactions with Maharaj. I think the first time was when he came to America with, not the first time that he came, but the first time he brought the Manipur troupe, the dancers and the performers. He went to most of the Rath Yatras in America. He brought a culture that nobody had ever seen before to the West, like Manipur dance. We've seen Indian culture, we've seen Bharatanatyam, Odissi dancing, but not Manipur style dancing. It was a big hit. I remember even he got into Epcot. Epcot is like one of the theme park at Disney World, and he was able to get the dancers, if I'm not mistaken, for many years. They would come every year when there was an international festival, right? There was an international festival, so Maharaj was able to get them into Epcot. And hundreds of thousands of people go to these theme parks every day. So many people were introduced to this Manipur culture. I remember in 1996 when he brought the Manipur dancers, I think the bus broke down in New York. The vehicle broke down, so they had to spend a little more time in New York. So we were able to get more of his association. It was a lot of personal association. I wanted to mention this before, and I'm very nervous, so please bear with me. Srila Prabhupada said that he to be. I don't think there was
much, Hari Priya Mata, and the good quality that you brought out on how Guru Maharaj cared for everyone, for serving. This was evident when I personally saw that in 2004 Rome conference, and all the scientists, after the morning session was over, and we were going on the tables to serve, I saw Maharaj also was serving personally to all the scientists on every table, wherever. And only after he finished serving to each and every delegate, he sat, which was almost the end of the lunchtime. At that time, he sat to have his and very small meal, because he was keen that the second session starts on time. So he was extremely particular about giving good service to the delegates. Thank you for bringing that point. Last week? The Rome conference? No, I didn't come to Ballanpur's house. Thank you. Okay, now I would like to invite His Grace Ishwar Prabhu to share. So, totally we have about 7 minutes, and in that we would request Ishwar Prabhu and His Holiness to. That'd be great.
Sri Gurave Namah Panchakapatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Patitanam Pavanavebhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namah. Srila Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Maharaj ki. So it's a great day, and hearing the great glories of a great Vaishnava, because this hearing the glory of the Vaishnava is what nurture our devotional service. Just like the Bhaktivinoda Das, great Vaishnava in the past, in his prayer, whereby he was singing that I pay my obeisances to Vaishnavas of the past, the Vaishnavas of the present, and the Vaishnavas of the future, and the Vaishnavas of all countries. They say. So this glorification is what defines Vaishnavism. Because Lord Krishna says that Mad Bhaktaya Puja Abhyadikadati, glorifying worship of my devotees is much more better than worship of myself. So Srila Bhaktisvarupa Damodara Maharaj is such a great, wonderful Vaishnava. He's such a great person that it's difficult to find fault in him. Very difficult. I've known him for a long time. First time was in the late 70s in New Vrindavan. And then when I was living in San Francisco, California, that time he was the, how do you call GBC, or the initiating guru that time. And that time he had the headquarters of the BI, the Bhaktivedanta Institute, there in San Francisco. So Maharaj, that time, was, of course, very, very actively writing books. But previous to that, when I was doing book distribution in the late 70s in Africa, so that time this book was just released, The Life Comes from Life, and then the scientific basis of Krishna consciousness. So at that time, many of us who are young book distributors, so we also enjoy distributing these books, especially to the scientific communities. So, and of course, I'm not from a scientific background, but we want to preach to the science students. So we use this book, Scientific Base of Krishna Consciousness, as the base. That, if you put this formula together, that therefore Krishna is God. So, and so Maharaj was not just he was both material scientist and also spiritual scientist. Just like Upanishad said that he wants to study the material science and spiritual science side by side. That's what Upanishad said. So Maharaj was the expert in both science. And that's why Srila Prabhupada was very, very proud of him. If you hear so many lectures of Prabhupada, he will always say, oh, my dear disciple, Sarva Damodara, he was always refined because Prabhupada was very, very proud of him. And it's very, very rare to find such a great Mahabhagavad like Prabhupada being especially fond of a particular disciple. So Srila Prabhupada was very, very fond of Maharaj, very fond of him. And then even though Maharaj has such a big, high qualification, materially speaking, being a PhD scientist, but at the same time also he was very humble Vaishnava. I remember during the Ranganiketan program in San Francisco Rath Yatra,